Ronnie Coleman, why the final week before a show was his hardest battle. Legendary bodybuilder Ronnie Coleman didn't just dominate the Olympia stage through brute strength and size, he also faced some of his toughest battles off-stage, especially during those grueling last days before competition. For the King, it wasn't just about lifting heavy, peak week was a mental and physical war. A near-death struggle at 2001 Mr. Olympia. Though Coleman won 8 Mr. Olympia titles, he has repeatedly called the 2001 Olympia the hardest of his career. He revealed that the morning of the show, he was severely dehydrated, to the point where he felt like he was about to pass away. Coleman admitted he seriously considered withdrawing, he called his nutritionist and even talked about going to the hospital. Despite the fear, he was convinced to stay by his nutritionist, rehydrated, and went on to compete and win. He didn't sugarcoat how dangerous it felt. "It scared the living hell out of me," he said. The final week, a battle of mind, body, and will. Though Coleman's most dramatic stories focus on competition day, the lead-up, especially the final week, was just as brutal. Dehydration. To look their best, top bodybuilders often dehydrate themselves in the final days before a show. But Coleman's situation in 2001 crossed the line from normal prep into something life-threatening. Mental strain. He's talked about how ego and identity were deeply intertwined with his bodybuilding success. Maintaining peak condition involves not just diet and training, but psychological pressure to perform and deliver. Physical toll. Coleman has reflected that his championship regime, nutrition, and training were extremely difficult to sustain. Why this week was a true test of strength. For Coleman, peak week wasn't just a tactical phase, it was a test of survival. Risk versus reward. He clearly understood how dangerous dehydration could be, yet he pushed because that was the cost of chasing perfection on stage. Dependence on support. His nutritionist's role wasn't just about macros or rehydration, it was about keeping him alive and mentally stable. Champion's mindset. Even when he thought he might die, he had the competitive drive to not only go on stage but to win. Legacy built on sacrifice. These moments help explain why so many see Coleman's legacy as more than just his titles. He was willing to risk everything. Reflection and impact. Coleman's admission has resonated deeply with fans and other athletes. His willingness to speak openly about how much it hurt, physically and mentally, gives insight into the dark side of elite bodybuilding. It's not just the glamour of winning or the weight of the trophy, it's the brutal cost behind the moments we celebrate. In recounting his prep, Ronnie Coleman reminds the world that becoming the King wasn't easy. For him, the final week was his hardest battle, and prevailing then was part of how he built a legend.